Senator Andy Wells represents Catawba and Alexander counties out towards the western part of the state. Thanks for being on the show.
Good to be here, Kelly.
One thing about you is you write a blog, and you write fairly regularly. And I read a blog post of yours called Specs and Planks. Interesting title, but that discusses House Bill 2. And what struck me about one of the opening paragraphs you wrote was, HB2 is a proxy for a fundamental shift and split in our society and how we view this world. Explain that.
Well, this is a split. We've had these discussions for some years, but I think it's coming to a little more pointed debate at this time. We have two groups of people in the state, in the country. One group says we have to provide absolute rights for the LGBT community. One group has more traditional values. Those may be firmly held religious values. They may be personal preferences, but they're equally firmly held. It's been a way of life for some of us for 6 decades, some of us for 70 or 80 years. So those are still feelings of people, and there are a good number of those who don't feel comfortable sharing their most private restroom moments with members of the opposite sex. So we've got that division. That's the conflict.
Is it a conflict that can be bridged in any sort of way? Could conservatives, social conservatives, could they come together, figure out a policy that protects someone who says, I was born biologically a male, but I really am a woman, I want to use female facilities, protect those people who are sincere in their belief against someone who often cited as the voyeur or the criminal or someone wanting to be in a locker room just for a thrill or for some other nefarious purpose?
I think it's possible to resolve any conflict, and it won't be done by one side or the other. The administration, the Obama administration, says we must allow one group to do whatever makes them feel best, even if it's at the expense of another group, the more traditional group. I don't agree with that. There are things that we can agree on. I think we can agree that it's best to be fair to other people, to be kind to other people, and to not discriminate against LGBT or anybody else.
But the other side will always say, this is a discrimination bill, plain and simple. At least that one part of it, about the restroom facilities, and then it opens the debate over gender-neutral bathrooms, which may be a whole different debate than whether or not a person's allowed to choose the one.
Then you're getting into a possible resolution. That's one possible resolution. I don't think that as a society we've gotten there yet. I would argue that we haven't even heard the side of the traditional people. Back in 1990, Congress debated. President Bush, the first President Bush, signed the American with Disabilities Act. There was a debate about that. It was about access to buildings, to restrooms for those with disabilities. We had a debate about it. There was a political debate. There were things associated with expense and inconveniences and how you deal with that. That was a simpler time, granted, but there was also a difference today. President Bush and the Congress was working toward a resolution. I think there was it didn't evolve into this kind of a huge societal split because President Bush led us through a process of bringing the country and the sides together. That's not what's happening today.
Do you think we'll deal with this the rest of this year through the election, or will this cool down and we'll move on to the other issues that we could expect to see in a campaign? The economy, education, jobs, roads, railroads, whatever, infrastructure.
Well, we've got a fire raging. I don't know that a forest fire goes out unless there's a massive storm or a significant input of human effort to douse the flames. I don't know that the fire stops burning on its own.
Very quickly, Senator, what's your website if someone wants to read your blog?
AndyWells.org.
Very easy. Senator Wells, thank you so much for being on and sharing your insight based on that blog post. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Kelly.